graduated from Bruce High School and were able to go to college, Mr. Morrison had a hand in every one of them's theses when they went to college. They would all come and see him, and he'd help them get it started and going. They were the backbone of Bruce High School because they were here so long, and they were so talented. The museum now is open for you to look around. The story is told on the wall. The wall tells the story. The school was called Bruce High School because of the U.S. Senator Blanche K. Bruce. Mr. Morrison Sr. was from Mississippi, and he was a senator for Mississippi. Right over here under the picture, right at the door, at the bottom, it tells about M.L. Morrison Sr. You should read that. He was the son of a general, and he went to Lane College right here in Tennessee and got a degree. And he was a big part of black schools in West Tennessee. He was the president of the Congress that were over all of the black schools in West Tennessee at one time. Any questions, anything?
Where did the elementary kids go?
The elementary kids went right here. You're standing in a part of the elementary department.
Okay.
Bruce School went from the 1st to the 12th grade.
Okay.
But when it first started in 1893, it was from the 1st to the 8th grade. We only got an 8th grade education. We didn't get a 12th grade education at the beginning.
What year did it start?
1893.
Where was your first location, Larry?
The first location was on Depot Street, which is right at the train station. That street now is Cedar. It was Depot at one time, Depot Street.
That was before all this was developed down here.
Yes.
So then there was in the county. So then there
At that point, the school was called the Dyer County School for Colors. It was for the entire county. But we had kids that come from all over. Ripley, Trenton,
Well, this was the third groups, right? Because we had.
This is the third school.
Right.
This is the third and the last school.
Right, because we had two, but one burned somewhere.
Yeah, the one burned right here. The one that burned was sitting right
Oh, but
here.
that was the second one.
That was the second
This
one,
is the
yeah.
third one, okay.
This is the third one.
Right up on the Main Street, Larry, the beer company for years,
Roberts, when you come.
yeah, and that was the school. There was a building where what little culture and class we had, that's where we went and learned the girls had to go learn the girls ethics, and the boys, we would have to go up there and learn with boys, open doors for females, and we thought it was great because we was learning something. They let us dance, and we danced our socks off. and then right there next to the brewery company on Main Street there, and he would, and then we had Brashaw Insurance next door. And they started buying us some Kool-Aid and cookies, and we just thought we was on fire. So Larry and I was talking the other day. We used to have this Dr. Morrison. He put on a minister show, and he'd have to run that show a whole week because white folks would come from all around, y'all. That's why we had to run it for a week. And he had given all us parts to play, and we had to put the smut on our face and toothpaste around the floor. And it was just like you saw on TV. And one of the things we done was he was teaching us not to steal. And he come up with this act about, have you seen my chickens? And the guy who had the chicken would tie the chicken feet in his mouth, and he had them stuffed all down So I said, have you seen my chicken? No more, I ain't seen your chicken. And finally, the chicken string come off of one of the chicken's mouths. And Doc asked him again, have you seen my chicken? And that chicken was in there pecking on him. He was howling. He was jumping. So Doc said, well, why are you shaking like that? Well, somebody have you seen my chicken? It looked like every time he would say, have you seen my chicken? That chicken would peck him, pow. And it was just, and they came, we had to set up gym floor. We put chairs in that and go up on the stage behind that. And he got all, as I said, everybody who had some talent was in that mentorship. Yeah. And like I said, White, one of the things we were talking about what we wanted to do is get the county, the whole county up. Kids and whites came from all over to support us. And all we had to do was act like we had been trained and taught to do. Don't steal, don't rob, don't fight, and all the stuff that's going on now. We're not used to that.
No. Okay, this, another point I'd like to make, Miss Yarbrough. You were over the discipline board at one time. How many people did you have working with you?
On the board, or, well, of course, you had everybody in the individual schools, and then what we have, 6, 8?
6 to 8, that's right.
8.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the disciplinary board for Bruce High School. This was it. They told you to go to the office and see Mr. Chris, you had a new attitude. That's the fact. This was the disciplinary board at Bruce.
5 legs. Got 5. I got my 5. I stopped going. Christian wasn't playing about the legs.
Made a believer out of you.
Ooh-wee.
Every graduation class that had a graduation picture is on the wall, from 1953 to 1966. The last one. Okay. Miss Charlie that was talking to you a while ago, she was real sick. She had a nurse that was taking care of her, and one day the nurse came to the house and she told the nurses, I got a package I'm gonna give you. My kids don't care nothing about it, but I'm gonna give it to you and you hold on to it. That is her 1927 diploma, all of her grade classes, report cards is on there. She had kept them all. It was passed on to me and I put them on display back then.
And Larry, this may be, this is the commencement program here.
Yeah.
That's real legible. Somebody's made a photocopy of it. It's
Right.
At First Cumberland Presbyterian Church, where was that?
Was the black,
I don't even
Yeah,
know.
it
It
says-
might have been the
Black.
church, right?
Yeah, it says
that was
Cumberland.
Reverend Harris' church last. Wasn't that Reverend Harris? He wouldn't come?
No.
What was he?
there is was a Cumberland Church out on Old 51 going toward Newbern.
Yeah, do you remember how it looked?
That's Hopewell. Hopewell.
Come here a minute.
Hopewell Company
That's
Presbyterian.
Hopewell, yeah.
Okay, is that what?
This right here.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
It's Fairfield.
That's not one of our churches. That's not one of our churches.
Okay.
I don't know what church they are. That's where they have their backlog service right there.
Is that not, Cedar Street? Paul, you would have known more than I would about that. Did I tell what Dr. Morrison did for me?
Huh?
Did I tell what Dr. Morrison did for me?
Yes, ma'am.
I was called into his office on intercom. I didn't know why I was called. I hadn't done anything. And I was a very quiet child. When I went in, he told Mrs. Morrison, was standing behind him. He was sitting at his desk with his arms on the desk like this. And she was standing beside him. He told me to close the door. And I was shaking all over. I will never forget this experience. He said, you're going to Lane College. I said, I don't have any money. He said, you're going to Lane College. Take these papers home, fill them out, change your name to Mary, and bring them back tomorrow. I graduated from Lane College.
Yeah.
I graduated from Lane College. I was hired in Memphis, Tennessee. I taught after desegregation was brought into the system. I was one of the first black 6 teachers sent into an all-white school. After that, the city system started a reading math program. I was the only black teacher who taught half-day city and half-day Our Lady of Sorrows, which is a Catholic school. When you enter Memphis, the Catholic school, you'll see there.
Yeah.
Used to be the traffic light. I stayed there until I came home. And the only reason I came home, my mom became ill, and I came home. I was hired here in Dyersburg, and I was the only black teacher who taught at First Presbyterian half-day and City half-day. Right. And all because of Dr. Morrison. I had no idea, I had no interest in attending college. And to this day, I don't know why they called me. I was very active in school, school activities and what have you. And would you believe that I went to college on a band scholarship? 4-year band scholarship. And that was because when he started the band here at Drew's, he called me on the intercom to come to the office, and he put this, I don't know what that thing is called now, what it was called then, I don't remember, but it was one of these big horns that you had to
Baritone, tube.
Might have been a French horn.
and I can't remember the name of what it's called now, but anyway, he put me on that, and then he decided that I was not gonna learn how to read music. So he put me as on the drums, and I played drums, and that is what I went to Lane College playing. And after getting to Lane, I played all of the concert music and marching band music. And I thank the Heavenly Father many times, because after coming back to Dyersburg and teaching here in the city, I was the only black teacher who taught at First Presbyterian, half-day, city, and other programs that I worked with the children. And all because of Mr. and Mrs. Morrison. Nothing that I wanted to do, thought about doing, or knew I would do.
Tell us your name.
My name is Mary Martin.
And she's on the wall right here.
Take the time, check that out.
Oh.
It's all about her love for teaching.
Because of Mr. and Mrs. Morrison.
But was your name Mary at first, or did they change your name?
No, my name is Mary Opal Martin.
Okay.
I don't use my middle name.
Okay.
Larry and I was talking again, and that we was talking about the history. Larry said that it's important for each and every one of us in here to share what experiences like Mary has just done. Because ladies and gentlemen, behind every black person here, there was a white man, a white woman behind that black. Mr. Greenberg, if his workers, kids wasn't gone, they knew about it And the last somebody they wanted somebody to say to him was their boss. You know what, Mister? Because he was cutting the check. And that's the way it was here. And the people that Larry's mother worked for some people, and they would come pick her up, take her to do that work and bring her back. And then she come home and raise her kids, family, and go on.
Amen.
No, went to jail. You know, we wouldn't. You know, we ate good out. They was around there talking about hungry. I was never hungry.
Another example of that is right on one of the desktops here. One of the desktops got a story that tells that the marching band got their first uniforms from the Kiwanis. Dyersburg Kiwanis gave them their first uniform, bought them for them.
One thing I would like to correct, she asked me what was your name. My name was May.
Hey, that's what I was wondering. You said they said change it to Mary.
See, it's important for the, that when Larry was talking, it wasn't a black thing or a white thing. It was just the good people. If you were good people, that's what thing it was. If you were trying to be good people, that's what thing it was. And that's how Dr. Morrison and Chris and all the teachers treated us. If you were good, you were treated good. If you were bad, you were treated good and try to get all the bad out of it.
And you had to persuade her.
That stick is real. We got tired of getting that stick.
The graduates that are here, we have some graduates here. Reginald Terry, he's a graduate of Bruce High School. Morgan Terry, graduate of Bruce High School. Betty Oliver Love is a graduate of Bruce High School. Milton Kirk is a graduate, and Mary Martin.
That's great.
We all graduated from Bruce High School. And, my reason for joining the Bruce alumni and working with them and getting this museum put in this room was because I graduated from Bruce and left here, and I went to Flint, Michigan, got a job for GM with GM, and I worked for GM 36 years, 9 months. I started in GM as a bathroom cleaner, janitor's job, and I retired a 7th level general foreman. And I worked around a lot of blocks in Michigan and in St. Louis that didn't even know how to read. They couldn't get a better job because they didn't know how to read. That's when I said, man, I'm glad I went to Bruce High School. Because I'll be honest with you all, I lived a life where I could have went home and didn't have to study nothing. Didn't have to touch a book. But the teachers here at Bruce gave me the basics. They gave me reading, writing, arithmetic. That's what they called it. And that was what I needed to be successful.
By third grade, we
That's
were
my
reading.
story.
By third grade, we were reading.
That's when teachers, they went to teach. They weren't in it for the money. They
Right.
were to teach.
Yes, what money?
We don't love children and people, we're not gonna, and even if you don't love children and people, that's what we want to do now. It wasn't just about black history, it's white history. And that's what made the good of Dyersburg and Dyer County.
Amen.
Because we laugh now and enjoy this was my classmate. This was my partner to crime right there. And I couldn't get on nobody's cotton truck because all I wanted to do was play ball. And when those men picked you up, that was their way of living. And they couldn't go tell the boss man we didn't get all this cotton out the yard today, because the kids were playing ball. So nobody would pick me up. But I made my money. One of them push mowers. I was cutting yards. I was one of the best yard cutters around this country. But they wouldn't pick me up if I couldn't get cotton. And like he reminded me the other day, he said, Milton, Boo Rhymes said, you remember when your mother told you about picking cotton? You just give her the bills and you keep the change. And I went and told the man, pay me in change. So we learned, y'all. And my brother is being on the horn here.
Ben Kirk.
Oh, man.
Very good.
He played with
Dizzy Gillespie,
Dizzy Gillespie.
Barbara Mandrell,
Yeah, I got an album.
Barry White.
Right. And he went to
he
Tennessee
played
State.
trumpet for all of those people.
Yeah. And with Mr. Stanfield, y'all. Mr. Stanfield. Yes, ma'am. He would let us, we go up there, go through the back door, and he had a little room for us to play up there. And he let my mother give him $3 or $5 on the horn. And we go in there and practice and learn how to play. Wow. And then, of course, the work we were getting from Dr. Mars. And then he hired a guy, Grady Black, from Lane College.
Mr. Grady Black.
And Grady Black come here, and the songs we were playing was okay. The Christmas, every little song in that Christmas book we could play. That hit book and all back then, we play all of them. But Grady come in there with that Poet and Peasant, William Tell Overture. We go, what is this? What is he doing? But you know what he called a 6 o'clock band practice. Ladies and gentlemen, and all of us was that. And we went right over to the laboratory. We went over to Jackson, Tennessee. That's where all the black bands were, and the ones out of Memphis. We went right in there, and we got through with that Poet and President and William Tell. We were #1.
Going back to the Who's Who wall. A lot of you all don't know, but Mr. Parnell was a principal at this school.
Good man, great man.
He was the principal after they closed it as a high school and made it an elementary school. And he was the principal. Miss Mary McCauley, all of you all probably know her. She was a professor at Gettysburg Community College. Miss Minnie Kirk, this is Milton's mom. She was the first president of the NAACP. Miss Minnie Kirk. You all know Miss Emma? Miss Whitelaw.
Oh, yeah.
She was a historian. A lot of these pictures she had, and she passed them on to me. Okay. First policeman, Jim Otterbridge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows Mr. White over there. Everybody knows Charles McCrae.
Yep.
One of the smartest individuals anywhere. Charles McCrae was one of the smartest individuals anyway.
Yeah. This is Cleo Kirk. He was a dentist in Memphis and an alderman. This is Milton's brother. Ben Kirk, we just finished talking about. Mr. Singleton, he started the CRD here that is still going right now and giving scholarships for kids. Up to last year, we gave $8,000 in scholarships. Year before that, we gave $13,000.
Wow.
So, and Mr. Singleton is started that. Okay. Two of our ministers here, Reverend Harris and Reverend Tice. The baseball field out here is named after him. He put a lot of work in organizing the kids and having baseball teams here. Mr. Chris was our coach. Very good coach. And I got Mr. Charles Lee. He was a teacher here, Mr. Lee. Okay, so that pretty much covers the board here. One other person I have to recognize, and he's here with us right now, is Mr. Dan Birch. Most of the picture frames in this room were donated by him. A lot of the pictures were in trouble where you couldn't hardly see them, and he cleaned them up for me, and he did all of that work for nothing. And really
Amen.
appreciate him.
That's right.
I can't thank him enough, Mr. Dan Birch. Okay.
Go ahead, baby.
I just wanted to say that, I graduated 65 with Larry, and Bruce High School has just meant the world to me. It always has. Now I'm about to cry. Maybe because I'm an only child, and every person here that I went to school with, it doesn't matter what grade you were in. We loved everybody. We played together, we went to school together, you know, we went to the movie together, we shared everything together, dinners together, and we were family. So when something happens to one of us, it's like happening to your family. Because we just dearly love each other. That's why we try to, I'm not a member of the association, but the association have the school reunions. And when I was growing up, I sometimes think back, the books that we got from, I guess, Dyersburg High School, we were 3 years behind. And they had 3 names in them. I got to think, how in the world did we ever pass the ACT test to get in college? It's by the grace of God. Because we were already 3 years behind, and every time, you know, when the white kids got through their books, then Bruce would get them. We had one frog to dissect for each class. Where the kids at Dyersburg High School had, every kid I think pretty much had a frog to dissect, you know. So we were already behind at the start. But then, you know, and I was in all the organizations. This was where we went when the community was involved with the children. The teachers loved us, they taught us manners, you know, we had to mind, we had to obey. And like you said, the paddle there was real. Although I just never did get that. Thank the Lord. But everything, all the organizations, this is where we live. Because, you know, we didn't have all the other things to go to, and we had integrated, we didn't have movies to go to, and we didn't have restaurants to go to. We didn't have Pac-Man and all the games. So school was our foundation between church, home, church, and school. And Bruce High was it for us. We would come back to every game, every organization, the yearbook meetings. I mean, everything we would come back, our basics was right here in this school. And this is where we grew up, and this is where we learned. The teachers loved us, and we got our knowledge, like Larry said. Our basics came from here for life. In between home, family, and Bruce High School, this is where we came from. And I can't think of hardly anybody that I know that graduated from Bruce, or even if they didn't graduate, they were productive citizens.
Yes.
I mean, I promise you, I'm just not making
all
this
over
up.
the United States.
All over the United States.
All
The
over the
students from Bruce
United
High School
States.
have always been productive.
That's great.
Some examples, class of 58, where is he at?
57 now.
Robertson.
56, 58.
58, 58.
57. Is it right there behind Dan?
No, I'm looking for a special guy here. I've got to find him. Here he is, Mr. Willie Robertson.
Yeah.
Graduated from Bruce, went to Tennessee State, graduated as an engineer. He went to Michigan and he worked for General Motors as an engineer. When GM bought Hughes Aircraft, the reason they bought it was to put OnStar in space. He was assigned to the OnStar project. They sent him from GM to Hughes Aircraft. He worked on the OnStar project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Those of you who may be about my age remember the Christmas parade and then waiting to see the Bruce band come perform. That was always the highlight of the Christmas parade.
Everybody used to love to see Mr. Jenkins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They were always scheduled last in the parade. Because nobody would leave. I played trombone in the marching band. in 57.
Nobody could walk and
And
leave
we
the
raced
parade
back
like
to
Mr. Jenkins.
presentation
He was real social.
stand.
And what was funny about it, the horses would go down through before us and everything. And Dr. Morrison, walk around it, don't step in it. It was that simple.
Larry, could I say something?
Yes, sir.
It's been mentioned several times here today, and when you get to be my age, you can look back and think of things, and I think and appreciate Dyersburg and Dyer County so much. And one reason I do is because I think that most people in Dyersburg and Dyer County want what's best for everybody.
That's right.
And you all have said it so well here this afternoon. There's one thing that I haven't heard yet, and I gotta share it with you. Bruce would play football on Thursday night. Well, the players that played a little ball at Dyersburg High School in the 50s would come down and see the game on Thursday night. And then on Friday, it'd be just the opposite. You know, Bruce players would come up to Dyersburg High School on Friday night when we were in town, and it worked out fine. But it was the Sundays that were the best. The Sundays were best. If you come up with a dime or 15 cents, whatever it costs to go to the Francis Theater, you get to the theater at 1 o'clock, and by 3 o'clock, the movie was over. And you would have passed the word to everybody that loved touch football, the way most boys did in the 50s. And we would show up, and we'd have players from Bruce, Dyersburg High School, and we'd just flip coins to see who's going to hit Team A and Team B. We would play ball and have the best time until it got so dark we couldn't see the ball. Well, the other thing that I remember so well, you all had, down at Bruce, there was a player who was so good and so fast that by the end of a game on a Sunday afternoon, the first few games, we gave him a nickname. He was called Lightning. And I've talked to Larry to try to figure out who that would have been, but he was so fast, I'll never forget it, because he could beat all of us. But in the 50s, 52, 3, 4, 5, we played for years down there. These gentlemen on the board here, most of us remember Thomas White, Charles McCray, Mr. Parnell, Mary McCauley, and this nice looking lady on the left here.
Yeah. Miss Emma Bass.
Miss Emma Bass was secretary on our 911 board for years. She did such an amazing job that after she decided she didn't want it anymore, we couldn't get anybody to serve because they said, listen, I'll never do as good a job as that lady did. So,
speaking of Miss Emma Bass, you gotta give her props. She started and organized the Bruce Alumni Association. She started it.
Smart lady, just a wonderful lady.
She made the organization and it's still going today.
And Jesse Kirk, who worked at Trunkline for probably 30 years, where I worked 30 plus 2. As fine a person as I ever knew. He just was a good person. And that's why we've been so blessed in Dyersburg and Dyer County. It doesn't take everybody. It'd be nice if everybody wanted to do the right thing.
That's right.
But you take a few people, this wonderful teacher here, the stories you told, this gentleman here, Larry, a few people trying to do good work and influencing and helping the lives of other people. And he will grow into the wonderful community that we have and we all share today. I'm grateful.
Yeah,
Amen.
and I think that Dyersburg is very special, sir.
Thank you.
To set up and organize a school for us in 1898. Probably wasn't very many black schools going at that time.
And see, when Larry was talking the other day, and Larry, we got to give him it's not enough applause, not enough words to describe the work that Larry has done.
Let's give it.
And Dyersburg and Dyer County to the fore. Now, see, as new black we got new black people in Dyersburg now. See, they wasn't born and raised like some of us were. And we got new white people here. They wasn't born and raised. But we were a classy little town. We had 2 country clubs, and them other towns may have had 1, but we had 2 country clubs. And we worked at them country clubs. We worked. And those folks kept their hands on us, and if we weren't, because I told you before, if we wasn't stealing and fighting and killing and beating on each other and beating our women up like that, y'all, we had it made. Mr. Stalin Lifford, and one of the most iconic voices, not just in Dyer County, but in the world, was Attorney Weekly. That little short man, y'all, had one of the greatest voices in the world. And no doubt, and I laugh, and we laugh, my brother and we used to get together, we laugh at Hollywood, because they gonna come up here with this Boss Hogg on TV. John Cribs was dressed like that, y'all. John Cribs was dressed like, he had done all they things they were promoting. Mr. Cribs had already done it, y'all. And I'll never forget when my mom was in WCP and she started getting those written calls. And Mr. Weekly and Mr. Lifford.
Mr. Lifford?
And the sheriff called my mother up there, and they told her, said, Minnie, don't say nothing. If you get the number, Minnie, Cribs said, just give it to me. He said, I'll handle the rest of it. And they did call that young. They did call. And Lawyer Weekly told them, well, I got you in court, Minnie. And when they called, Cribs went and got them. It's just, that's the kind of history Larry and I are talking about. It wasn't just about black. We have so much black and white history here in Dyersburg. To these new black and new white folks got to learn. I mean, because there was some talented people, black and white people in this city, in this county. All of them in school, like Pagoda. We had those blacks that come from past Pagoda from Newbern, Royal and out here. And all of it, but there were some sharp black kids, y'all. Yeah. They could read, talk, and study. But see, and just like happening not just within our society now, they took black history out. How you think the blacks gonna learn if they don't learn their black history? They took currency out. And that was the hardest thing for me to write. I was left-handed. My writing was so bad, I used to get whooping. They used to whoop me to make me write better, but I just had a left hand that wouldn't let me go.
Okay, listen up, you all. I have some treats over in the next room. And we have a round table area. If you would like to sit in and have some refreshments, feel free. For now, we can break up. You all can read the information on the walls, take a look at the pictures, and we'll
go